And welcome to another Cardinals Nest, the virtual Cardinals Nest. I'm your host, Dean Beckman, the faculty athletics representative for St. Mary's. And my faithful, reliable co-host is Donny Nadeau, the sports information director for the Cardinals. Our guest on today's Cardinals Nest is Kylee Zumach. Kylee now in her second year as assistant volleyball coach for St. Mary's. So Kylee, welcome once again to the program. Last year we had you on down in the studio with DJ Bab. This year you're flying solo though.
It's all good. I'm ready.
All right. Well, no one's ever ready for the questions that Donnie comes up with.
True.
You just never know what you're going to get, Kylee.
I love it.
So Kylee, since we've already kind of met you a little bit and you've introduced yourself, I think it's a good time to remind our viewers, if they don't know you, that you were a Division I volleyball player, right, at Kansas State. So maybe just do a brief kind of walkthrough from your playing days at K-State and now leading to assistant coach here at St. Mary's.
Yeah, so kind of quickly at K-State, I was there for 5 years. I tore my ACL my second year, but during my time there, I was two-time All-American, Big 12 Freshman of the Year. Those are my big ones. And then I went and played professionally over in Spain for a year and then decided I really wanted to get into coaching. So that was last year, and last year was my first year here.
And Kylee, I mean, one of the things that pops out in my mind, and I've been kind of wanting to ask this question, being a recruited collegiate athlete like you were, what are the biggest differences between recruiting at the Division I level and recruiting for St. Mary's at the Division III level?
So I think volleyball and IQ and ability could be put on the same field. I think the one biggest difference is pure height and pure size. I was considered pretty average on my team. We had a bunch, I'm 6'2", pushing 6'3", and we had a bunch of 6'6" girls. So I just think once you get to those bigger Division I schools, you're just seeing a lot more height across the board. Even your back row players are around 6 feet tall. So just a lot bigger females, I think.
So Kylee, I've got to believe, I'm sure you were a standout in high school, standout in college. Now you've been coaching. This has to be your first fall, probably since you can remember, without competitive volleyball. You know, you've been getting some practices in and things like that, but you've got to be chomping at the bit to get some competition, right?
So I was actually talking with my mom about this. She was a coach when I was little, and I used to go into the gym every single fall, and I was the water girl. So I have literally been doing this for as long as I can remember. And I'm like, what am I going to do with all my free time in the fall? The only positive is my sister plays volleyball at Indiana, and the Big Ten is starting a later fall season, so I'll be able to see her team play, hopefully in person, which I haven't been able to do before. But all this free time is very new for me.
So Kylee, how have you and head coach Jackie been able to structure at least what practices you've been able to put together with your team, and how have the players responded to it?
Yeah, so as everyone knows, we had to start going into pods, which we actually loved. Positional training in volleyball is really important, and we don't get that much time set aside to do so a lot. So going into it, I got to work with the back row players and the outside hitters, and they were super receptive. We got to break down skill even more and have more one-on-one time with them. So that's been awesome. And then actually getting back into the gym, doing a full team practice, the girls haven't done that for probably 8 or 9 months. So everyone's just been super excited to play. So the energy's been fantastic, and it's been really easy to coach. Jackie and I have talked about this just because the girls are also on board and wanting to play and have a season because their spring season got taken away from them.
You know, we talked to Coach Corbin Bowers last week, and I asked him the same question. And in a way, I've got to imagine that the fall season being moved to spring can work actually to your advantage, because you get the fall to practice and prepare for a spring season rather than vice versa. When you come onto campus, boom, you're in action and you're playing, and then in the spring you get a non-traditional season. Can you talk a little bit about how you are preparing for the spring compared to vice versa on a normal year?
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. I'm kind of an optimist, so I'm trying to look at everything. Obviously, we'd want to play now, but we get so much time to work with very talented incoming freshmen to prepare them, get them into our system. We get more time. Rachel Kettle, our senior, was like, I'm so happy I get to be a volleyball player all year, because most of the time seniors fall volleyball done, their whole spring they have time off. So especially for our seniors and freshmen, I'm seeing just such gratefulness being here and learning more and more and more and getting more time to prepare. But I think it's actually been and will continue to be an advantage for us going into MIAC play, having all this time to train.
You know, looking at your coaching staff, you and Jackie both played Division I volleyball. How does that work to your advantage as you prepare your team and as you teach and you know, maybe new systems or whatever? How does that work as an advantage? And then flip it around, and what could be the biggest disadvantage to that?
So I think advantage-wise, we're both at the same level of competitiveness and drive and buy-in. Volleyball has always been and continues to be, because it's my full-time job now, my entire life. So I'm dedicating 150% every day to making our team the best. And, you know, Jackie is too, and we're both super, super competitive. And I don't know if you always get that. So it's nice having two coaches who want to win just as much or sometimes even more than their players, showing that. So they're like, hey, I want to win for coach too, because she wants this so bad. But on the flip side of that, you know, it's harder to ask all their off time away from the court, dedicating stuff to like watching film, doing team events, working out on their own, because they're here because they love it. Division III, that's what I like about coaching it. Everyone really wants to be here because they love the sport. You know, you're not getting paid to do so. So I think you could look at that as an advantage and disadvantage, but it's nice to get different outlooks on the team of what people want and expect.
Kylee, I always enjoy following you on Twitter and your team on Instagram. So I think you guys do a great job with your social media accounts. So I wanted to say I appreciate that and encourage others to follow you on those outlets as well. It looks like your team, from what I can see from those posts, does a lot of activities where they learn to kind of bond together as a team, some community service projects. So maybe talk about some of the recent activities sort of outside of practice where you get to know each other as a team.
So we've been, since we don't have games to look forward to, we're trying to foster events on the weekends they can look forward to as a team. So we've had like team dinner and a pumpkin carving contest. We've had bowling. We've had community service. They do stuff by themselves. What's really helpful is they love each other and we're not forcing them to be together. So like bowling was completely their idea. They're like, hey, let's do something fun out of the gym. But I just think the relationship they build off the court just makes them trust each other even more on the court. So it's been really fun as coaches, seeing them get along so well and seeing their success on the court because of that.
Speaking of that bowling, I saw on the Instagram post, the question was, who would you pick to get the W?
Yeah.
And my question to you would be, who got the W?
Coral did, and you know what? I was the bowling professor last year, and she was in my bowling class. And I'm like, you won because I'm the worst at bowling. But we're just going to say it's because I'm a fantastic bowling professor. Coral won.
That's great.
Kylee, what would you see as is looking at this, you know, and you hate to keep bringing up COVID and what we're going through, but what's been the biggest challenge as a coach and for your players with this fall and no events?
I think the biggest challenge is we challenge them coming into the season you're going to have to change your social life and the things you do away from the court. And I think that takes a lot away from the college experience, which is tough. But we're like, if you want to be here and you want to win and be successful for volleyball, you got to take this seriously and be safe. And you can't go to crowded places or go to restaurants all the time because we don't want to get shut down, you know? So I think it's been the biggest challenge for our team, like changing their social life away from volleyball. But they've done a great job creating kind of a social life within the team. As you said, bonding, doing a lot of stuff together. But I think really that's hard because a lot of people come to St. Mary's for the college experience, doing stuff with other St. Mary's students, going downtown in Winona, all that fun stuff. But they've done a great job making up for that.
Well, Kylee, we've kind of hit that portion of the show now where we're going to transition into some trivia questions, all centered around trying to get to know you a little bit better on kind of a more personal level. So Donnie's going to kick us off with kind of his quick hit question.
Before I ask you the trivia questions, because we got some really good ones here, and you better not fail us. But I guess, you know, we talk a lot about your experience at K-State, and I mean, any chance that anybody can understand that, you know, a Division I volleyball that's pretty impressive. What was your favorite memory about your time playing Division I volleyball?
Playing wise, it would have to be. We upset my freshman year. We upset Hawaii, which was like number 4 in the country at the time, at Hawaii, and they get the most fans in the country. So it was like being at an NCAA Division I basketball game with all those fans there, and we upset them, and they were nice too. Hawaii volleyball fans just love to watch. So they actually gave us leis after we won of flowers, but that was my favorite volleyball memory. My favorite non-volleyball memory actually was K-State men's basketball was unranked, and we upset KU, which was number 1 at the time, and we stormed the court, and that was really fun. But both are pretty awesome.
Those are great stories. Those are great stories.
Yeah,
right,
good memories indeed. All right, so trivia. Yep, I'll kick us off with the trivia question. So here's the first one, Kylee, and you can either write these down, or since it's just you participating today, you can just. But did St. Mary's volleyball average more or less than 1 ace per set last season?
I'm gonna say more.
And you would be correct. It was 1.5 aces per set. Good job.
All right, number 2. Which of the 5 sets did St. Mary's win the most? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5?
I'm gonna say 2.
You are correct. 15 times you won the second set. Very
wow,
good.
That's impressive.
2 for 2. 2 for 2. Don't let us down now.
Just one more to go. You can get the perfect score here. One player on St. Mary's volleyball last year averaged over 0.5 blocks per set. Who was it?
Rachel?
That's correct. Rachel Kettle it is. 3 for 3. Good job.
Nice. I'm surprised on that second one. I just guessed.
All right. Now, just like the student athletes, I had you guys fill out a questionnaire.
Mm.
And sometimes people don't remember what they filled out. Sometimes they write stuff that they wish they wouldn't have, because then I ask them about it. So here we go. Here are your 4 questions, your questionnaire. Number 1, your favorite saying, I quote, "It is what it is."
Yeah.
First off, that's my least favorite quote. I absolutely hate that quote. But when was the last time you used it, and in what reference was it?
Probably said it last week. We've been really busy up here. I was telling Dean before we started the call. We've had substantial number of visits, and Jackie's more of she's very on top of everything that needs to be scheduled, and I relax her a bit. I'm very type B. I'm like, on a team full of type A's, I'm like, we got it. It is what it is. Go with the flow. So I bet I used that last week, but I'm really just adaptable, and I take hits when I get them. So I'm just like, it is what it is. We'll get through it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kylee, your favorite food is street tacos.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you last have them?
Where did I have tacos? That's a good question. I actually had Mexican last night at Mango's, but I didn't get street tacos. But I don't remember the last time I've eaten tacos, but I do love them.
You do like them.
Yes.
All right. Your favorite TV show? It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes, it is.
Favorite character from the show and why?
Oh my goodness, that's a good one. Charlie, and I say that because he's just crazy off the wall, And I have a really weird sense of humor, which I think is embodied in that show. And he's probably the weirdest person on that show. So I think he's my favorite.
Well, Kylee, you've got to be loving late October here because your favorite holiday is Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it Halloween?
I don't know. I've always loved fall. 1, I'm usually in season. 2, my favorite sport to watch besides volleyball is probably football. So I love football season. And I just like Halloween. I like dressing up. Last year I was Dwight from The Office at our team practice. So I just like dressing up and being goofy and carving pumpkins and all that fun stuff.
It is a great holiday.
It's fun. I just like having fun.
Yeah, it is. Me too. I enjoy Halloween.
Yeah, you like scaring people up here.
All right, we're to our final 3. You've survived everything. We're down to our final 3.
Okay.
So here we go. Your best coaching memory thus far here at St. Mary's.
Best coaching memory. Game-wise has to be beating St. Ben's. I mean, that was a huge one for us. And then the next day following it up, being down 2 games, then coming back and beating Concordia. So that weekend's probably my favorite memory. We really learned a lot about ourselves as a team and as a program. So that really stands out to me.
All right, Kylee, if you could have played any other sport, what would it be? Now, I'm guessing at 6'2", it's maybe basketball, but if you could choose, which would it be?
So I would say beach volleyball, but that's a cop-out, I think. So I'm going to say swimming. I'm not good at running. So basketball, no. But I've been told a lot I'd be a really good swimmer because I have super broad shoulders and long arms. So I think I would excel in swimming if I ever tried it.
All right, that's great.
We're gonna take you off the hot seat with one more question.
Okay.
Who's the one person you want to sit down and talk volleyball with?
One person I want to sit down and talk volleyball with. That's a good question. I mean, just for the sake of it, probably Coach Karai. He's the head coach of the USA women's team, and he himself was a phenomenal beach and indoors player. And he's just cultivated success within that program. So I'd want to just kind of sit down and pick his brain about all the success he's had as a player and as a coach.
Boy, Dean, I really thought she was going to say her sister, but you know.
Sorry, Kari.
Well, that's who she likes to go see play. So if you had asked who's her favorite person to go see play, she might have said Kari. But
I would have, yes.
Kylee, when we had a few of your student athletes on earlier this fall, we asked them their favorite Coach Jackie saying. Do you have one?
I just like when she gets super excited, she's like, what do I say? What do I do? So it's kind of like an anti-saying. She just gets so overwhelmed with excitement. It's like,
she's speechless, right?
She is speechless. So I think that's the funniest when she gets so excited she doesn't know what to say.
Yeah, when she watches this, you may be running laps at practice today.
Oh, goodness, probably.
No, she doesn't like to run and isn't good at running, she states. Remember, Donny?
I am the worst.
So, all right, Kylee Zumach, thanks for joining us on the Cardinals Nest. It was great having you on, learning more about you, and good luck here with the rest of fall as we kind of look ahead to the competitive season in spring this year.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks,
all right, that's going to do it for the Cardinals Nest. It is what it is. Thanks for watching.